For the longest time, going to space was a story of nations and flags, a massive geopolitical drama played out above the clouds. Well, that whole story is being torn up and rewritten. The space race is back, but trust me, this time the players, the rules, and the ultimate prize have all changed. So let's dive into this new frontier. And this slide, this is it. This is the single biggest shift. For half a century, space belonged to governments. You think NASA, you think Roscosmos. That was the game. But now, private corporations have basically kicked open the cockpit door and taken the controls. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin aren't just tagging along for the ride. They are charting the course, completely redrawing the map of space itself. Okay, so here's our flight plan for today. First up, we'll look at this new space race and figure out how we even got here. Then, we're setting our sights on the biggest prize of all, Mars. We'll also have to dive into the really heated debate around the billionaires funding all of this. After that, we'll zoom out and see how it's expanding our universe in other ways. And finally, we'll ask, what could be humanity's next great frontier? All right, let's get right into it with Section 1, a new space race. And this isn't just some sequel to the Cold War. The whole playbook, the technology, the economics, has been completely thrown out. So you might be asking, how did this all happen so fast? Well, it really boils down to a few key breakthroughs. The biggest one? Advanced reusable rockets. For decades, we built these incredible machines, used them once, and then just threw them away in the ocean. Can you imagine scrapping a jumbo jet after just one flight? It's nuts. But by making them reusable, the cost of getting off this planet has absolutely plummeted. And that one simple economic shift unlocks everything else, including the once unthinkable idea of space tourism, which is now a very real thing, for the ultra-wealthy at least. All of this new tech and new money is pointing toward one incredibly ambitious goal that has totally captured the world's imagination, finally reaching Mars and maybe, just maybe, becoming a multi-planetary species. And let's be clear, this is not science fiction anymore. When you hear people like Elon Musk talk about sending a crewed mission to Mars, they're talking about a concrete engineering objective. Starship, the massive vehicle being designed for that exact journey, is undergoing explosive, challenging, but very real tests right now. This ambition is playing out in real time, right in front of our eyes. But getting there? Whoa, it is anything but easy. This journey means we have to solve some of the absolutely hardest problems humanity has ever faced. So let's break down just how unbelievably difficult this trip to Mars is going to be. The challenge is just immense, and it really comes in 3 deadly stages. First, the ship itself has to be perfect. There's just no room for error. Then comes the landing. You're trying to land on a planet with an atmosphere so thin it barely slows you down, and where massive planet-sized dust storms are the norm. And okay, let's say you survive all that. Then you face the biggest challenge of all, just surviving. You have to shield yourself from constant radiation, figure out how to get food and water, and somehow deal with the profound, crushing isolation of living on another world. This huge cost and all this effort brings us straight to the central controversy of this new space age. And it's a debate that really pits our dreams of the future against the very pressing needs of today. And you know what? It's a totally fair question, and it's one critics are asking very loudly. With climate change, poverty, and a million other issues right here at home, is spending billions to go to another planet a wise use of resources, or is it just an epic, selfish distraction? So let's look at both sides here. The critics argue these are the ultimate vanity projects, right? Billionaires ignoring urgent needs on Earth like climate change just to fulfill a personal dream. But the counter-argument is that technology developed for space rarely just stays in space. The push to solve these huge problems almost always leads to innovations that benefit all of us, from the satellites that monitor our weather to the amazing water filtration systems that were first designed for the International Space Station. But it's also so important to remember that this new era is bigger than just billionaires and Mars. That stuff gets all the headlines, sure, but at the exact same time, there's a quieter, but maybe even more profound revolution happening in our understanding of the cosmos. For instance, you've got instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope that are basically acting like a time machine. We're not just seeing stars, we are seeing the first stars. We're getting images of the very first galaxies forming just after the Big Bang. This is way more than just exploration. This is a quest to answer the biggest question there is: where did all of this even come from? And this highlights a really beautiful point. While the private race to Mars is super competitive, a lot of space exploration is actually deeply collaborative. The James Webb Telescope, for example, is a huge partnership between the US, Europe, and Canada. And pretty soon, a joint team from Europe and Japan is sending a probe to Mercury. These missions prove that while space can be a race, it can also be a really powerful force that unites us all. So all of this brings us to our last section, humanity's next frontier. Because when you put it all together, we are standing at a truly unique moment, a real turning point in our shared history.
The technologies being developed, the discoveries being made, they are fundamentally dissolving that line between science fiction and reality. We are living in an era where the dreams of past generations are literally the engineering projects of today.
And so, we're left with this. We are on the absolute brink of taking our first real steps into a much larger universe. And the ultimate question isn't just what we'll find out there among the stars, but what that journey is going to make of us, right here, back on Earth.